Oke, untuk tanya. Ini datang ke sini supaya belajar sama mereka.
It was made by my host mom. She's like this tiny little grandma. And
my favorite drink is coffee or orange juice.
I video call with them.
Okay, questions. Asher.
What is your favorite drink?
Favorite drink is
Water.
Water.
Malika. Miss Malika.
Every teacher can teach what they want, which is good. You know, you can teach something you're passionate about, but I might have a 10th grade teacher who teaches a lot of conversational skills. And I might have another teacher and she teaches a lot of singing and a lot of speech and a lot of videos. And then students from both 10th grade classes get mixed up. And so when they come to 11th grade, they have very different skill sets. But I have to teach one lesson to all these students, and it's even, when they get to 12th grade, they've had a very different education compared to another student, because the curriculum is very different, the classes are very different, so they end up knowing very different things. So it's very difficult planning a class for a 10th grade, for 11th grade, for 12th grade, because there's no single standard of education. There's no test they're teaching for.
There's no standard.
Right. Even though curriculum is
maybe upper student in one class.
It allows a lot of freedom, but because there's so much freedom, there's no single thing they all know. So it's very difficult for me to understand a class because I need to teach several lessons with them to say, okay, these students, they know this, but they don't know this. Or some of these students know it, but these students don't. And I asked them, like, who did you have in 10th grade? And like, oh, we had Miss 3. Who did you have? Oh, we had Pa Seth. It's like, oh, okay.
How many students in the class in your?
36. Yeah.
Here in SMK.
36.
No, in your country.
Oh,
or junior high school.
How
many students?
25 to 30.
You know, I know Pa Seth, I know Miss 3. They're great teachers. I think their classes are fun and they're great. But they're different. And that's fine, but when you get to a higher grade, it becomes an issue. Even though the teachers are teaching what they want, and they're teaching honestly. Because it's different, it means that each grade, as a teacher, you kind of have to assume they don't know anything. And you start from zero to fill in the gaps. And this means it's hard to build more advanced classwork, because they just have a completely different foundation. So yeah, I think Curriculum Merdeka has a lot of benefits, but the lack of a standardized test can have problems. In America, we have standardized tests, and I actually think we have too many in America. We test all the time. But it does mean I can take a class with Mr. Boland in 8th grade and go to 9th grade, and my 9th grade teacher can know, okay, my students know this, so I can teach that.
Yeah, I see.
But I can't do that in Indonesia, and so it's difficult. And I don't even know how I would fix it necessarily, aside from having a standard
Just
test.
like big gaps between the students who knows a lot and some students are...
Right. You might have fantastic students who are halfway fluent, and other students who aren't. And how do I keep the advanced student engaged while I'm teaching a more simple subject? And I don't know the answer. I don't know if there is one. You try to teach the best you can for as many students as you can, and create flexible lessons that challenge the advanced students, but still give the less advanced students something to do. And I'm always second guessing myself. I'm trying to improve and be better, and it's a challenge, but it's something I like doing. I like teaching, and when the students succeed, when they're learning, and when we finish a lesson, they're like, "Oh, Mr. Jake, I figured it out." It's like, "Oh, well, all right, cool."
Sometimes some of the youth students, they're really active, but the rest is just like being passive students. So they just listen.
Sure.
They can't understand the lesson.
There are some students, and they'll never interact in my classes, and they're just gonna fall asleep, and I'm like, okay, this student hasn't learned anything. But then there are some students who also will never say anything in class, and then I'll see them out of class, And they'll talk to me in like fluent English. They'll be, oh, Mr. Jake, how was your day? What? What? Why do you never speak in class? And they're like, oh, Mr. Jake, I'm so nervous. You're near fluent. You have great English. But they're always so worried to speak. They're worried to make a mistake. I think there's a big bias in Indonesian education towards perfection. If you can't do it perfect, you shouldn't do it. And or they're afraid to speak in front of their friends. They'll laugh or they make fun of them. And that's one of the hardest things is just giving students confidence, giving them the ability to feel comfortable.
Right, agree.
Right, that's why I always recommend using English outside of class. If you want to learn a language, you need to use a language. Go watch something, watch a movie, read a book, look at a meme on YouTube or Instagram, whatever it is. If you use a language, you get used to the shape of the language and the sound of the language. And you become more confident because you know you're saying the right thing.
So apply the language into activities,
right?
right?
Exactly. When I was learning Indonesian, I watched Sinetron with my ibu in East Java. I watched Sinetron all the time. And it's just soap operas, you know, it's just very silly drama, but I learned a lot of Indonesian from that. And I got to have a fun experience with my ibu. And so I'll always remember that, learning Indonesian with the Sinetron. And I see my younger host brother in Subang. He watches American shows, he plays video games, and he's almost fluent. He's in middle school. He says he never learns in class, he learns when he goes home and he plays video games. And his English is incredible. He's so good. So I really believe that's the best way to do it, is I work with my students, we try to have fun, but I encourage them, hey, you want to learn English, don't stop in class. This is a good foundation, but if you want to keep going, go watch a movie. Go play a video game. What do you like in Indonesian? Do you watch horror movies? Go watch a horror movie in English. Put on subtitles, but make it English subtitles. If you're doing Indonesian subtitles, you're not going to learn anything. Your brain just translates and it can process, but that's not useful. You need to have a real, authentic interaction with the language. And you'll figure it out. Humans do that. We learn languages when we're babies. They didn't need to go to school to learn Bahasa Sunda. They just learned it. They heard their parents talking. They heard other people talking. Even as adults, we can still do that. We have that ability. Except it's even better because we can make notes. And we can go watch stuff we like. If you're a kid and you have to listen to your grandma yammering on, you don't want that, but it's a learning experience. So, yeah, you can still learn and have fun.
The repetition is also...
Repetition, every day.
Sometimes the students easy to understand, but easy to forget.
Right.
Because they never apply in their activities.
Absolutely.
They never use their languages.
You got to use it, right.
Yeah, I think Jake did a great job explaining it. I don't think there's anything else I can add. He did a great job. But I prioritize speaking activities in my class. I think that's the most important way to learn a language, and it's the most useful aspect of the language. If they want to use English in their jobs or in their future, they're going to need to be able to speak it. And I think a lot of times learning English here is not prioritizing speaking. They want to maybe just read it and memorize it for the test, and then maybe they'll forget it again. So I try to prioritize speaking activities, so maybe group work or dialogue or something where they can play maybe a game or an activity where they can try to speak it in small groups sometimes helps, so they're not as nervous or scared. So they don't have to be in front of the whole class, they can just be in front of maybe like 2 of their friends or something. Yeah, I think
I'm trying to give them some interview, so we have to prepare some questions for the students, and they prepare, and then I give them some time, and then they're ready, and they come to me, and then I record them. So giving maybe 1 or 2 or 3 questions for them is enough. They keep practicing, so they have no time to like cheating or something else. They're just preparing themselves to be ready when I call their names, and then they come and they try to speak as soon as they can.
Yeah, great.
Just like maybe we'll try that, because I think the student I understand a lot about English, but they don't speak English. That's why I give them like some pressure to speak, just giving them interview. For example, about maybe giving opinion on subjects they like, about giving opinion about schools. And most of the time, I get complain about...
Ya nanti sebentar, nunggu Ihsan. Ya, jadi ini mereka lagi cerita bagaimana kondisi pembelajaran bahasa Inggris di Indonesia. Begitu ya, Mr. Arin ya? Sistem pembelajaran bahasa Inggris di kita. Jeck bilang tadi bahwa pembelajarannya itu sebenarnya kurang dipraktekkan sehari-hari, gitu ya. Dan pembelajarannya kurang menyenangkan itu ya, tidak menyenangkan sehingga Jeck di sekolah Jeck itu menerapkannya dengan game gitu ya, dan menyarankan kalau anak-anak mau nonton pengen lancar bahasa Inggrisnya nonton film Inggris gitu ya, film berbahasa Inggris gitu gitu ya. Chloe juga sama kan itu ya, jadi harus banyak speaking, praktek gitu, harus banyak praktek ngomong bahasa Inggris. Nah di kita enggak, jadi kalau udah keluar kelas ya udah selesai. Guru bahasa Inggrisnya juga seperti itu, nggak membiasakan ngomong bahasa Inggris, padahal dipaksa aja anak-anak. Kalau Pak Yayan ketemu sama anak-anak sekolah ya nanyanya bahasa Inggris, orang Pak Yayan guru bahasa Inggris, jangan lagi nanya pakai bahasa Indonesia. Kalau muridnya ditanya pelanga-pelongo nanti juga dia membiasakan diri agar ditanya sama Pak Yayan itu bisa ngejawab bahasa Inggris. Pembiasaan gitu. Nah kelemahan di kita itu gitu, belajar dari bahasa Inggris dari SD, dari SMP, SMA sampai perguruan tinggi ada bahasa Inggris 1, bahasa Inggris 2, lulus dapat sertifikat ijazah ngomong Inggrisnya nggak bisa kayak saya gitu.
Because they never use for daily activities.
Ya.
Apply the language.
Kuncinya ya pembiasaan ya. Buktinya kita nggak sekolah bahasa Sunda bisa bahasa Sunda karena ibu kita ngajarin kita bahasa Sunda gitu. Saya nggak ada pelajaran bahasa Jawa bisa bahasa Jawa karena ibunya ngajarin bahasa Jawa gitu. Jadi kalau saya nanti Jeck, Malika ini setiap hari ketemu saya di sini, saya pinter bahasa Inggrisnya. Nanti kan setiap bulan boleh ke sini. Ya kalau main pengen liburan sini aja. If you want take a holiday, you can come here. And come here, pray with me here, playing. Just 1 hour from Bandung to here. Dekat. Udah pada makan ini? Udah pada makan ini? Udah pada makan?
Oh, jadi pas tadi sambil nunggu itu kata sambil nunggu
So
roti.
you're flying 2 days.
Ayo.
First 7 days, and then you're flying back.
Oke, nanti sana.
Yeah,
Terima
so
kasih.
it's only there 3.
I see that you eat karedok.
Yeah. Suka carrot.
You know karedok?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aku udah makan carrot dog.
Makan karedok. Really? What do you eat? What did you eat?
Roti bakar.
Roti bakar and
And martabak.
martabak. Martabak.
It was very delicious.
Very delicious.
Malika, what did you eat?
Martabak, roti bakar, nasi, and sate.
Sate. Toy
Ya, nasi, sate, dan roti bakar.
dan roti bakar. Tapi tadi makan nasi dicampur roti bakar gimana?
Makan nasi dan sate sebentar 1 menit. Makan roti bakar.
Oh, dikira nasi nya roti bakar. Oke, thank you. Saya harus ke Subang ya.
Hati-hati ya.
Ya, hati-hati di
Jeck
jalan.
sama teman-teman bisa di sini sama Mr. Yayan dan Mr. Ade. Ya, tidur di sini yang nyenyak.
Iya.
Kalau panas Oh, buka jendelanya. Tapi ada AC. Pakai AC boleh, pakai AC. Pakai AC. Ya. Besok kita akan berangkat jam 7:30.
Kami bersyukur atas kebaikan Pak.
Oke.
Terima kasih
Kebaikan Pak.
Oke.
Terima kasih atas kebaikannya.
Oke. Aku tinggal ya.
Hah?
Aku tinggal.
Selamat jalan ya.
Oke, terima kasih.
Hati-hati di jalan.
Pada bisa Indonesia
Bisa
ya?
bahasa Indonesia, kita yang tidak bisa bahasa Inggris.
Have a good trip.
Dede dong, ngomong bahasa Inggris.
Ayo, ngomong lagi.
Have a safe trip.
Yes. Stay safe.
Hati-hati di
Have a
jalan.
nice trip.
Oke.
Ya.